deliver consistent high purity products to
Derek, it's great to have you on InvestorStream again, following the company signing 2 separate distribution agreements for the Asian and Australian markets. Can you take us through the work that went into achieving these agreements? And now that they're secured, how does it play into the company's ongoing strategy?
Great to be with you, Alex, and thanks for having me again. Yeah, we're delighted, obviously, to have signed 2 very important distributor agreements in 1 week. And we've been working very hard to get those together and to sign those contracts. In terms of a strategy, our target market for EuGeni globally includes tens of thousands of individual hospitals, clinics, pharmaceutical organisations, governments and GPs, and they're all our target customer. And we hope that we can secure as many of those people using the EuGeni platform as we possibly can. Now, it would be impossible for us to sell directly to all those tens of thousands of individual customers. We just need a sales force that's too big. So our strategy is to use distributors, and we're working to secure distributors in the major markets, obviously, as quickly as we possibly can. So our distributor network will eventually use their current customers, the customers that they're already selling to also sell the EuGeni platform. And that's the most efficient way for us to sell the EuGeni platform into that market. So AnteoTech's ability to sell EuGeni is largely predicated on our ability to sell to the distributors. And we are focusing on that as a strategy. And yesterday we announced we are successful in selling our product to a major distributor. And that distributor covers a population of 340 million people, larger than the US. So it's a very successful and very important signing for us in terms of our strategy for the EuGeni platform.
So with those distribution agreements locked away, can you talk us through what other work is being put towards securing more distribution agreements and increasing EuGeni's global footprint overall?
Well, as I mentioned to you, Alex, our strategy is to use distributors. We will be selling our product, the EuGeni platform, to distributors as the most efficient and fastest way to deploying the EuGeni platform into the global market. And we are totally focused on that process. We've got people working for us currently in Europe and in India, and we are taking on that challenge of selling our EuGeni platform to distributors in the Asian market ourselves out of Brisbane. So in terms of our development, our competency development for the business, we are turning towards market orientation, and that market orientation is focused on selling the EuGeni platform to distributors, and that is our total focus at the moment.
Now that the Australian distribution agreement has been secured, no doubt your focus will be turning towards obtaining TGA approval for the EuGeni platform, and I think you alluded to that earlier. Can you take us through the next steps towards the TGA submission, which you've slated for September?
Yeah, that's right. So we announced earlier in the year that we were improving our ISO 13485 certification so that we could access more regulatory positions globally. And part of that is to also attain MedSAP accreditation. So our ISO 13485 upgrade process requires us to go through another audit, and that audit is starting in the next couple of days. And we believe that will be finished during July and August, at which point we'll be putting in our TGA submission for the EuGeni platform directly after we have the upgraded certificate from our audit process. Now, it'll be up to the TGA to decide how much time they're going to take to approve us. We'll be requesting expedited approval. So it is a dependency. We don't control the TGA approval process, obviously. But our submission will be going in September, around the September timeframe at this point.
And just finally, Derek, on Monday you outlined the latest developments with regard to the saliva samples in the UK and the need for more evaluation. Can you just give us an update on how those trials are tracking and what that actually means?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few things to unpack here, and the trials are tracking very well, or the evaluation studies that we're doing are tracking very well. But the first point that I'll make around what we're doing with saliva is that when the antigen is present in the saliva, our test works perfectly. We have no issue in terms of detecting the antigen with our test in saliva. And, the investors would know that I've reported on this a few times before, that we went into a lot of detail with our design of our test, especially around the lysis buffer, so that we could detect the antigen in saliva when the antigen is present in the saliva. So that's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is that mouth saliva is slightly different to nasal mucus. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we can detect the antigen with mouth saliva. But what happens in the mouth is at different points in the mouth, or different areas of the mouth, have different viral conditions or different viral load. There are some points that have a commensurate viral load, or something that's close to nasal mucus, and there's other parts of the mouth that have much lower viral load, and there's some parts of the mouth that have no viral load whatsoever. We can't detect the antigen when there's no viral load. It's just not there. So we have to be very careful about the use case, or how we harvest our samples from the mouth, because there is a great amount of variability in the different ways you can harvest the samples from the mouth. That's a second point. A third point that I will make is that people put things in their mouth that they don't put in their nose. And I say that sort of half jokingly, but it's true. There's a lot of things that go into the mouth that don't go into the nose, and those things can affect the viral load and where the virus exists in the mouth. So it is quite challenging from that perspective as well, that the viral load in the mouth changes because people put food and drink in their mouth, and that changes the viral load, and that makes our harvesting process slightly more complicated. So the next point that I'll make is that we are obligated as a legal manufacturer of a test for SARS-CoV-2 to make sure that we provide an instruction for use that ensures that the test works consistently. And if we don't do that, our reputation will be extremely damaged, and the test simply won't work the way we want it to work. We can't risk that. We have to make sure we get it right. And that's what we've been doing over the last few months. Where that journey took us was into a number of evaluations. Now, we started our journey on an evaluation in the UK. That was an extremely successful evaluation for us. It gave us a lot of data. It enabled us to understand how to set up our subsequent studies. And those studies took us to places like Spain. We did some more work here in Australia. And we currently have 3 separate evaluation studies operating in India. And we expected to finish those studies around the end of June. Unfortunately for us, we can't go to every single person in India and ask them for a sample. There are about 38,000 positive cases every day in India, but we can only operate effectively out of a couple of sites, and we've been doing that the last few months. And in the last few weeks, those 2 sites have had a lowering of their positive cases simply because they're coming out of a lockdown. So we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the positive cases and the flow of our data into the finalisation of our evaluation studies that are coming out of India. And unfortunately, that has meant we've eclipsed the timelines that we originally announced to the market. We don't apologise for that. It's something that we have to deal with. And we hope investors understand that our work is continuing, and we will be finished our saliva work in due course.
Fantastic, Derek. Really appreciate you joining me as always. Congratulations on securing those distribution agreements. I'm sure it's a big milestone for you and your team, and we look forward to further updates as they come to pass. Thanks for your time.
Great. Thanks, Alex. Thanks very much.